Hello and welcome back to Factorio C Block. In our last episode, we consolidated our sulfur into one spot here. And as you can see, over the past, not very long, it has consumed all of that sulfur into making sulfuric acid and is now storing up, has almost stored up an entire tank full of sulfuric acid. Which is good in that, well, we have a bunch of sulfuric acid to use, and potentially bad in that, well, now I don't have any more sulfur, so I don't know how well this is going to go ongoing. But we are at least continually making sulfur in various places. All the places that make the mineral sludge do also make a surplus, a small surplus at least, of sulfur. I didn't actually calculate how much. So that's 4 of those, plus the recycling of the stone and slag up here also does. And then we also have, of course, the excess sulfur fluoride? Sulfur dioxide? Sulfur something here. Hydrogen sulfide, anyway, something. Which is coming out of all of these, the first of the washing plants of any kind, and that's all getting also recycled into making sulfuric acid. So we've got a bit of a complex build going on, but that's okay because complexity is good, right? Right. But today we're going to use a little bit of that sulfuric acid, at least until we can't use it anymore, and that is to make plastic again. We had made this kind of plastic here. Given the scale and the scope of this, maybe this is a viable plastic solution, maybe not. But there's another plastic recipe, which is I've just unlocked here via the technologies. And that one is another liquid plastic made from cellulose acetate and acetone gas. Cellulose acetate is made from a cellulose acetate mixture and purified water. And cellulose acetate mixture is made from cellulose fiber, acetic acid, acetic anhydride, and sulfuric acid. There you are for the sulfuric acid question, although there is a feedback of sulfuric wastewater we'll need to deal with as well. And then the acetic anhydride is more acetic acid, so we'll have to use acetic acid into that one and into this one. Methanol gas, carbon monoxide. And then finally we have another recipe over here for acetic acid, which uses a red metal catalyst, which we'll have to take a look at. Methanol gas and carbon monoxide to make the acetic acid. There is already a way to make acetic acid. I think we may already be doing it here. Maybe not. I thought we were. Maybe it's part of one of these. Ethanol. Acetic acid, right here. So we can already make acetic acid from this source here. So maybe or maybe not, we can look at whether we're going to need that or not. I've made a few things because I do actually have a plan. I had a plan built for this in my test game, but I want to do this one from scratch again because it's a complex one, and we haven't had a really complex one, a truly complex one, in a while. And so this may actually even take more than one episode. I'll see where we are when we get to a good time, and then I can decide if I want to split it or not. So we're going to do a new plan. I actually want to do this plan here in Helmod again. As I mentioned before, I want to, on occasion, do a whole plan in Helmod just to kind of encourage maybe some learning about it, and also to make sure that you guys are getting the sort of learn and build experience here a little bit as well. But I don't want to do it every time because I don't want to become repetitive or boring in doing all the things. So this liquid plastic here, raw bioplastic and acetone gas, is the one we already know about. The one we are talking about now, though, is this liquid plastic from cellulose and acetone gas. So we'll take that one. There is another one here that we can do a little bit later, but we don't have that one unlocked yet. That unlocks, I presume, with bioplastic 2. So this will take, to make 15 of this, it will take 2.29 chemical plants. And it'll take, of course, the aforementioned cellulose acetate and acetone gas. And I think let's start with the cellulose acetate, I think. That's, of course, gotten from here, which has the sulfuric wastewater coming out. We need that to feed in some of this cellulose acetate mixture, which actually uses cellulose fiber, which we did notice. And that is cellulose fiber we can get from any of the cellulose fiber sources so far, whether that's grown and processed one of these things or from algae or however you want to get it. is fine. I assume is fine. We also then have acetic anhydride and acetic acid, as well as sulfuric acid. Now, the sulfuric acid is going to be a, quote, easy, unquote, version, because we're just going to make as much as we can make of the sulfuric acid from the wastewater, and then the rest of it we'll bring in from the consolidation plant we just did in the last episode. So let's go ahead and do this here. Right. That one, and then this one here. And then finally, this one here, which gets actually this one over here, pulling the sulfur out of the sulfuric wastewater. And that gets us, we need to make sure we control click on that to make that the primary output so that it syncs it up with the sulfur needed here. So you can see already that this requires more sulfuric wastewater than is actually necessary. So we want to knock this down a little bit so that we use 2.5 less. We use 10 instead of 12.5. And we can do that simply by going in here, yes, and typing in here 10 divided by 12.5. And that didn't work. Wait a minute. While he's screwing something up. Should be. Oh, wait, 80%. Sorry, 80%, not 0.8. That's what I screwed up. Okay, so that zeroes it out completely. It is null, but that means we have to have 1 sulfuric acid per second coming into this this area. So we're going to bring that in via pipe, with an overflow or a top-up valve to make sure that it doesn't exceed what we need. So we're also going to need a bunch of purified water here still, which we will make from water. We'll make that. And we have a surplus, a little bit of mineralized water here, which I think we end up using in something. Or did I end up flushing? I might end up flushing it. I think I flushed it. Yeah, I think I'm going to flush it. We could potentially dump it toward the recycling of it for the making ores, but we could flush it too. So either one works out fine. But then we can move on to the acetic anhydride. And I want to do this one before we do acetic acid because you need acetic acid in acetic anhydride, as we well know since we already glanced at all the recipes. So there's this one, and then that increases, of course, the amount of acetic acid we need. And then we also have methanol and carbon monoxide. If we look at this one first, I think, methanol and carbon monoxide, or methanol specifically, is made from carbon dioxide and hydrogen with a green metal catalyst, or it's made from cellulose fiber. So that's more cellulose fiber we need. But that's okay because green metal catalysts are a little bit of an oof right now. And I'll show you why. Let's go into the screen here, and where are those at? I want to actually find it, I think. Yeah, here they are. Aluminium and silver ore. We don't have either one being sorted out of the ores yet, so we would have to make a bunch of changes to do that. So for right now, I'm not going to do it. Later, if we do a rebuild of this or an expanded build of this, that may be a good idea, but right now I'm not going to, and we'll use this one instead. However, this means we're going to need a lot of cellulose fiber, so we'll have to keep that in mind, and we might even want to... Oh, I already clicked it. I already clicked it once. Don't click it again. We might even need to expand our cellulose fiber production over here. But that's the end of that chain anyway. We also have carbon monoxide, which is also easily made from carbon and purified water. We kind of already know this recipe, or part of this recipe, because we've already done it in a way. And in part, that would have been kind of like this, only this is just making the carbon. But then you can take from that. Do we do that up here in green circuits? No, that's still just carbon. Okay, so we haven't actually done this part yet, but it's kind of the same. It's the same starter there to get the carbon, and then you get the carbon monoxide. So we'll make the carbon, of course, as well here from charcoal. So I have to bring in a belt of charcoal for this. But that's fine because we also need to make steam, which we can use the charcoal to power the steam boiler for that. So that gets us down to steam, and I'm not going to do the steam one because steam gets weird if you try to add it into Helmod from what I've been able to ascertain. So I'm not going to add it in there. But we're getting down to kind of more base materials so far, but not quite there yet. I want to go ahead and take care of the acetic acid. So of course we know that we can take our fermentation base and turn that into acetic acid and compost, which we're already doing, which we can do some math on. But we also can just take... You can use red metal catalysts, which I can show you what those are, to make methanol and methanol and carbon monoxide. Oh, I should have done this one first. Oops. to get acetic acid. So let's put that in there, and then we need to actually bump this one up above carbon monoxide so that it increases the carbon monoxide demand here. The red metal catalysts, which are right next to the greens, are just copper and iron. So that's more easily obtained than the aluminum and silver right now. So we're going to do those. And then the metal catalyst carriers are just iron. 5 iron plates makes 10 catalyst carriers. So, and those are 100% recycled through this process. So we don't have to do any shenanigans with those. I'm going to delete these last 2 from here just because we're going to add them back in a little bit. I don't want to do it right now. We're going to add them back in with this. So methanol and carbon monoxide. Oh, I need this methanol to be down here, down 1, 2. Okay, increase that supply there. Acetone and carbon monoxide. Yep, okay. So we can go ahead and do the catalyst thing, just so we have it in the screen here. But we just need a tiny amount of these, 0.067 assembly machines, and just a handful of catalyst carriers, probably maybe like 20 or 30 or something, not very many of those. And since they made in groups of 10, that's not very many at all. So we'll do that, and we'll just bring in some iron ore and copper ore, a very tiny amount there as well. Let's go back now to the methanol and or the carbon monoxide. I think we can safely do the carbon monoxide again. We do that, and then we'll do this. And then I want to look at, you know what I didn't do? I didn't actually do the acetic acid comparison with the other recipe. And I should have done. But the problem is coming up with the correct calculation for that from the base material. So I decided not to use the recipe that we have already done here, and instead use the recipe we're going to get to here in a moment. I don't know if it's better or not, but I didn't really want to get into that calculation, and I thought, let's look at another recipe. So methanol, I think maybe next. Yeah, we needed to do the wait, we already did the catalyst thing. We already did that. What do I have left here? Oh, acetone. And then oxygen. And purified water. Okay. So acetone, I guess, is next. And that comes all the way back up to the top here, for acetone. This might have been the better one to do first. Acetone is obtained from either the fuel oil recipe or one of the fuel oil recipes with the acetone in the synthesis gas. We only get 40 for every 100 nutrient pulp. Or we could do this one where you get 60 out of 100 nutrient pulp. And so I chose this one. That means we have ethanol and butane available, which for the moment, at least, we're going to burn those off or flare them because I don't know what else to do with them besides that. And I also don't know what else to do besides that as well. The ethanol, I think we could actually link it up with one of these, maybe. Didn't we have ethanol in one of these things? Yeah, we have ethanol here in this pipe, so we could link it in here instead of making the ethanol with this, which we are flaring the surplus when we're making acetone here. We could do that, but we also are already doing this, or we already are doing what we're looking at here, so we could just maybe piggyback on that for this last recipe here, although it's not enough. Because if we're going to make this much plastic, 15, then we need 1.12 of those gas refineries. And right now, we only have one of them down. So we have to look at that too. Let's see. Finally, we have nutrient pulp, but that's right here. So we don't need to go any deeper than that right now, at least. In terms of quantity, maybe we do 41.67. Here we're making 56, so most of it needs to go into this plastic if we're going to actually use the plastic. You know what I probably should have done? I probably should have put this into an assembler. Yeah, I probably should have actually added the recipe for plastic, not the liquid plastic. Let's fix that momentarily here. That one there, and then I want to force it all the way to the top. Control-click. Puts it at the top, and I want to make just one assembler worth, which I think is 1.5. It is good, and that's how much of this was there, which is kind of a good thing. Okay, so we have that now from nutrient pulp. We have the surplus of these gases, which we could potentially look at what we have already being made and marry it together. And then we also just need a little bit of oxygen and a little bit of purified water. Let's do the oxygen first. We're going to get that from the air, and then from that we need to obviously have some of these. So we need to have one of those. Something isn't right. Or I screwed something up elsewhere on my test one. I may have. We need oxygen for this. That's going to be that. That's going to be this. We're not getting that much sulfuric wastewater in. Maybe it is right. It might be right. It's probably right. I think it's right. So I need, let's take one of those, and that's fine. That's enough oxygen, apparently, to turn the sulfur that we're getting out of this system, which is only 0.1, back into sulfuric acid via the sulfur dioxide route. And so then we just need some purified water to balance the whole equation here a little bit. And we could do that, of course, from oxygen and hydrogen, but I'm just going to do it from this process, which is turning water into purified water and saline, and then dumping the saline right now. And that'll be fine, too. So that's kind of our plan. We need 5.5 cellulose fiber. Can I do this and see how much it needs inputs? No. All right, so we're going to have to leave this out then. Here, 5.5 cellulose fiber. Guess what? We're not making that much. We can look back here, but I think we're making, like, a little bit, a tiny bit. Let's see. Actually, it won't be here. We are making... What goes into cellulose fiber? We have some here as a byproduct of Okinarimon. And then we have some back... Wait, where is it? Oh, it's here, right next to. Of the... Tiantin processing. So if we wanted to see how much we're actually making of this, we have 1.516 Tiantin, and we have Okinarimon is this one? This one. 1.667 Okinarimon. How much fiber can I reasonably expect to get out of that? Not very much. We could do another plan for that, I suppose. Let's go with... I'm going to do a separate plan just so I don't confuse anything. Plant fiber? No, that's not what it's called. Something fiber. Let's just do fiber. Cellulose fiber. That's from you and you, actually. I want to switch this to be input-based rather than output-based. So we're going to have an input of 1.5 something and then 1.66 of the other thing. It was a little bit more than those, but that's fine enough for this. We're going to be getting just almost basically 2.5 fiber out of these two as it stands right now. And I'm going to delete that because it's not really useful. So we're only going to get half of what we need for this, but we're also not really making much more nutrient pulp than this, so that's probably okay. And so I think what I want to do is just leave this to be a design or a planning episode, and then we'll actually build it in the next one and get it started. And then I want to actually come back here and compare it against plastic bars so that we can see the other plastic bar recipe, rather, the one from the trees, to see which one is more efficient on different measures, different ways of measuring. So I think, yes, we'll leave this here, and we will finish this up in the next episode. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you then. Bye for now.